Right guys, okay, so this is what we're making in this lesson. We're taking what we made in lesson 3, which is this, and we are adding some steps to it. Yeah. And then the final domino falls and it hits bigger dominoes, and bigger, and bigger, and bigger, and one last one. And we have some camera work. Oi, one last one. We have some camera work as well, and then this biggest domino is going to just fall off and fall into oblivion. Okay, so that's what we're doing in this lesson. I've taken lesson 3. All I've done is I've gone File, Save As, and I've saved it as lesson 12. Okay, I think this is lesson 12. When I'm making this, I'm not sure that this is going to be the right order and that this is going to be lesson 12, but I think it is, yeah? Use the video number, use the lesson number that you see in YouTube, yeah, that YouTube tells you. Okay, but anyway, it's your lesson 3, and then save it please as lesson 12, and let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to make some steps, yeah, some dominoes on steps. So I'm going to take the rightmost domino, okay, this one here. I'm going to duplicate it, Shift D, put it anywhere for now. Duplicate it again, put it anywhere. This one, 90 degrees on the y-axis, 90 degrees on the z-axis. I've got snapping turned on, and I've got snapping turned on with edge, center, center. And what that means is when I grab this and I put it down here, it's going to snap automatically to the bottom. Yeah. Right, that's good. Now we need to change this because these are copies. These are both active. This step is going to be passive because it's not actually going to move. Yeah. Now if we press play, okay, so we don't want that to happen. So this is actually, and we can see, this is actually under the step. So let's turn snapping off, because that wasn't very useful. Let's grab it, and let's just move it up so that it's resting on the bottom. There we go. We should be able to press play and not see any movement at all. Yeah, I saw just a little bit of movement, so I'm going to see if I can do any better. Take it down a pixel. Nah. Okay, anyway, that's fine. Yeah. So I've got my first domino on my step. This is an active rigid body. This is a passive rigid body. Now, select both of them using the shift button, grab them, and I'm going to put this where it can fall over. Yeah. With both of them selected, Shift D again. And something like that. Then I can just do nice and easy now. Shift R as many times as I want. As many times. There we go. That's a good number. Then what happens if I play it? Okay, all right, so that first step, that first domino, there was a bit of a problem there. So let's go ahead and fix that. I should be able to select these. Yeah, no. Okay, so I need it in object mode on mode, yeah? If I grab, now let me zoom in so I can be more precise. If I grab these all and move them down and in a little bit, now if I press play again, should be okay this time. Okay, all right. So not quite. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to delete these. And then click on 1, click on 2, Shift D, and let's have them a little bit closer together. Yeah. And then I can just Shift R again. Press play. Okay, I could edit all of this out, guys, and just show you that I get it perfect first time, but I don't think that's good, yeah? I want to show you that I'm actually having problems as well, and that I'm fixing it just by trying again, yeah? It's one of the skills we need to learn. Okay, good. This is working much better. Let's have a bit of color. And we can see that because they're copies, they have random colors. Even the steps have random colors. Good. Let's take this one. Let's have a copy of this. And let's put this down here. And let's copy it again. And let's put it side by side. Okay? And let's try, as much as possible, to get these on the floor. Okay, and we know if they're on the floor because we press play. And they don't move a lot. Yeah? Okay, that's fine, yeah? So, this domino is going to fall onto this. We can move this around a little bit later, but first let's make our big dominoes, yeah? So, I'm going to select this first one. I'm going here to add modifier, add array modifier. I'm going to have 10. You can have as many as you want, okay? I don't care. Turn off relative offset, turn on constant offset. Now, I don't want them going that way, yeah? I want them going that way. So if you have to have a negative number here, that's fine, yeah? So be it. Yeah. Now, let's remember the problems that we had up here, yeah? The dominoes were too far apart, so they didn't fall over nicely. We need to be a bit more careful here because we're going to separate these and they're not as easy to recreate. So we want to be sure that, that these are going to fall over. So I'm going to put them a little bit closer together. There we go, that should be fine. Yeah. Now our object offset, that's what this bad boy is here. In fact, let me rename this. This one. This is our offset domino, and we'll see its importance in a minute. Okay, so our object offset is offset domino. Okay, because we've renamed it, it's easier to find. Yeah. Right, now that I've done that, the distance has increased, which I don't want. Yeah, because these are going to fall over and they're not going to hit each other. So let me bring that. You bring that back. Yeah. It's a shame that these are blue because they're not super easy to see. There we go. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, now actually if we have 0, an offset of 0, 0, 0, that looks fine actually. Now the beauty of this offset, and we need to be careful here because we've actually got 2 dominoes on top of each other, yeah? If I move, yeah, you can see, yeah, there's a domino here, and this is our offset domino. So we need to be careful that we've selected the right one. I want to select the offset domino, and we can see in our cube list, the offset domino is not selected, so I'm going to select it manually. With it selected, now, S to scale, and we just scale this, and it scales all of the 10 dominoes. Yeah. We can do that again. Select my offset domino, S to scale, bring it down, and we can actually make them smaller as well. Yeah. So we can use this to make objects bigger, to make them smaller. Now you can make them as big as you want, you can make them as small as you want, you can have as many as you want. Yeah, I really don't care. Yeah. That's enough for me. Let's have a look. Right, these are all blue. Now they're all blue because they're a copy of the same one. Yeah, which is fine. I'm happy with that. Right, now what's next? So this is still an array. So add modifier here, we need to apply the array. Once we've done that, we can go into edit mode with, which one of these do I want? With this one, select mode. Now I've got all of my vertexes selected. Yeah. We can see that these are all black, yeah, and I can just click on any of them. That's fine, I can click up here. I'm going to go P, separate by loose parts. Okay, and that's going to make each one its own object. And we can see that now. We've got 10 new objects that we've just made. Yeah. Out of edit mode into object mode, we need to give each of these new objects their own geometry, their own center of gravity. Okay, so object, set origin, origin to geometry. Now we get these dots in the middle. That's good. Okay, so our plane is now not big enough. So we need to make our plane big enough. So I'm going to make this 120. Now it's actually made it longer on both sides, but that's fine. Actually, no, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it along a little bit. Now we've got a problem that they're half under the plane. Okay, so we need to fix that, because if we don't fix that, as soon as we press play, they're going to bounce all over the shop, and that's not what we want. Yeah. Now there is a better way of doing this, but it's not easier, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. Yeah, this is the easiest way. We grab it, we move it on the z-axis, and we move it up until we can see that it is sitting on the floor. It's not under the floor and it's not hovering above it. Wait, I pressed H there, so grab that. There we go, it's a bit high, let me move that down. Grab this, Z, there we go. Is there any more here? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay, if you've created hundreds of these, you'll now be in a world of pain. Now, this is our object, this is our offset domino, and we'll see if we move it, there's one behind it. So this offset domino, we can now go ahead and delete. We don't need it anymore. Okay, those are okay. Let me press play, and they shouldn't move about too much. Okay, we don't want them moving over, falling over. Okay, come on, chop chop. This is a bit slow, so I'm going to go into scene properties. I'm going to go down to speed, and I'm going to change the speed to 2. Right. Okay, so it does hit, and they do fall over. Yeah? But it doesn't hit the first one. So I'm going to select them all, grab it, move it on the x-axis a little bit. And because I've changed the speed, I need to delete all my bakes and bake again. And now, press play. This should play a bit faster. Come on. And this is just a bit of trial and error. Yeah? If it doesn't knock our dominoes over the first time, we move something, we try again. Okay, all right. Perfect, actually. Yeah, I quite like that. Okay, super. Good. Wait. Right, I'm going to go ahead and save this, because that's a lot of work done. Yeah, done quite well there, and that looks quite nice. Right, what's next? Let's do the easy bit next. let's set up the camera. Okay, so let's add a curve, a Bezier curve. Let's change it to a straight line just by changing the y-axis to 0. And let's make it much longer. This is going to be, let's have it about 60 meters long. Grab it, move it along the y-axis, move it out the way here. Yeah, that's fine. Our plane is 120 meters. Okay, our Bezier curve is about 60 meters. Yeah, that's fine. These don't have to be exact numbers, guys. You can play around, you can try something different. Add a camera. Now, to reset our camera, and this is important, Option G, Option R. That will put it in the dead center, looking down. Yeah. When we've done that, with our camera still selected, we can go to Add Constraints, and our camera is going to follow, and it's going to follow our Bezier curve. We need to change the forward axis to -z and the up axis to y, and when we've done that, where's our camera gone? Where's the camera gone? Hey, camera. Okay, so let's go up here and let's try to find it. Let's go overhead. Let's turn off our HDRI so we can see things a bit more clearly. Where has that camera gone? There it is. Wait. Wait, hello. Wait, stop it. That's our camera there. Let's have a look. Can we rotate? Hang on. Oof. Aha, okay, all right. So that is our camera at the end of the line. Yeah? Right. When we've done that, we can add another constraint, which is a track to constraint, and it's going to track our sphere. And as soon as we do that, our camera points at our ball. Now, we don't want the camera starting over here, we actually want the camera starting over here. So this offset, if I do that, it goes further away. So I don't want that. So it's not going to be a positive value, it's going to be a negative value. So I can keep going. And the value that I know it is -100. -100 gets it to the start of this Bezier curve. And now if I look through, okay, good. And it does what we expect it to do. It tracks the ball. It doesn't track the dominoes because we've told it to track the ball. Yeah? Now, for now, that's okay. Yeah. Right, okay. This next bit is probably the most difficult bit of the video. Yeah. Okay, so be ready for that. This plane gets in the way a little bit, so I'm going to hide it. Yeah, I'm just going to go down here and turn off the eye, which makes it invisible. Right, overhead. Add a curve, add a Bezier curve. Let's grab it and let's just move it out of the way so that we can see it. I want this as long as this. So how long is it? Not quite sure. And I want it perfectly straight, so I'm going to change it on the y-axis as well. Yeah? Now, I've made a mistake already, because actually I only want it as long as this initial run of dominoes. So, how long is that initial run of Dominos? It's only about 20 meters. Maybe 25. Yeah. Okay, so I've got a Bezier curve, which is about the same length as those initial dominoes. And in about the same place as well. Right, now what we need to do is we need to head to edit mode. We're going to take this Bezier curve. I'm going to click on my location tool, and I'm going to press E to extrude until I get something that I want. Okay, so I've got a bit of a curve there. Then I'm going to use these nodes here just to get it how I want it. Okay, something like that looks good. I clicked, yeah, so I fixed the finish point. Okay. This is not easy, guys. This is a bit of trial and error, yeah? But there's lots of trial and lots of error here. Right, so I've clicked on this rightmost point, E to extrude, and I want this going up the steps, up to about there. Now we need to remember that this Bezier curve is actually hovering in the air. And I'm going to, when we're finished this, we're going to put this down at ground level. Yeah? So we need to factor this in when we are creating this Bezier curve. It's useful. Actually, let's do that. Let's put it at ground level now. Yeah, we can see that it's at ground level. Let's have it parallel so it's not on top, so it's not confusing us. Put it at ground level, and then we can sculpt our Bezier curve. Right, back into edit mode. I'm going to grab this and just bring this over a little bit. Now, I want to extrude it again, and I want to extrude it down to about there. Yeah. But this point, I'm not happy with it. I want to grab this and just move this back a little bit. There we go. This is looking okay. And this last point, I'm going to extrude it along there. Something like that. Yeah. And because we've been working in this view, in this orthographic view, we've been working along the same x-axes. Yeah, so it's in a perfectly straight line. So what we want is something that looks like that. Yeah. Something that follows our path. Yeah. Then, when we've done that, we can go out of edit mode into object mode. We can add an empty cube. Let's initialize our empty cube, Option G, Option R. This empty cube is going to follow, and it's going to follow, right, okay, we've got two Bezier curves, so let's fix that. Click on one, all the way up to Bezier curve. Okay, this is our camera curve. Okay, and this is our empty curve. Okay, it's useful to rename them. Right, where is my empty? Empty's all the way down here. Okay, and our empty follows our empty curve. Offset, so this is the end. So up here must be negative 100. Now we need to change this, because we don't want to actually follow our sphere. We did, but now that we've got something better, we want to follow our empty. Yeah, because we're going to animate our empty across here. Okay, so let's go ahead then and animate this, right? So, this Bezier, this empty curve, I have moved this. I've moved this on top of our construction. Okay, and I've made sure that this camera curve is fairly close to the action. Okay, I don't want it here, but I also don't want it miles away. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this empty curve onto the action, onto the construction, and let's move our camera curve onto closer. Yeah. So we look through our camera. Okay, it's not huge, but it's not tiny either. Yeah. Right. This is what I was playing around with. So we've got no keyframes here, and for our empty, we've got no keyframes here. Now, if you don't see this, that's because you will see this instead. Yes, but it is useful. It is useful now to click here, so that when we click on our empty, we can see the keyframes that we've got associated with that object. Right, let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is not easy, but if we follow it logically, we can do this. So, our empty. Let's go to our physics. We start at negative 100. We have a keyframe here. There's our keyframe. Yeah? We press play. About there, we need to move our empty along. Oppa. And we need another keyframe. We press play again. It hits the first domino. Let's move our empty along. Let's have another keyframe. Yeah? Our dominoes start to fall. Let's have another keyframe. Here. Our dominoes, our floor of dominoes finishes falling. So let's have a keyframe there. Now at this point, we've got about half a dozen, what's that, 1, 2, we've got about 5 keyframes. Let's test this. Okay, fine, yeah? Now our camera's not moving, which makes it a bit more difficult. So let's go ahead and click on our camera. Now we see, as soon as we see that, the keyframes disappear, because the keyframes are associated with the empty, and the camera doesn't have any keyframes. Yeah? So here, let's have 1 keyframe. Here, when this happens, this collision, I want the camera to see it. Let's have a look through the camera. Oh, there we go. So I'll have a keyframe there. Press play. At about this point, I want the camera to be further along. We can look overhead. Want to be a bit closer to the action. Something like that. Oh, there we go. Another keyframe there. Right. Okay, so now we've programmed this empty and we've programmed this camera. So before we go any further, let's have a look and let's make sure that this all looks okay. It looks okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. If you're not happy with it, select your keyframes, X to delete, and delete your keyframes. I didn't mean to do that. Right, okay, so where were we? Let's go back to our empty. So we don't want our empty to be too fast or to be too slow. Okay, so we see here, yeah, our empty, my empty, is ahead. Now looking through the camera, actually it's okay because our focal length is fine, so we can still see the collisions, yeah? But let's be careful, our empty, we don't want it too fast and we don't want it too slow. Okay, so this is my last empty keyframe that I've programmed so far. So I want this to run on. Now actually, stuff happens at collision. Speed changes at collision. Okay? Here, we go from a ball falling quite fast. This all happens quite fast. And then this collision, things slow down. Yeah? As this domino, as the physics start to take over. So wherever we have a kind of a collision, I mean, these are all collisions, but where we have a collision of a different kind, let's err on the side of caution and let's have a second keyframe slightly afterwards, just to control our speed. Yeah, so about there, I'm going to have my keyframe there. So we've got two keyframes fairly close to each other because here the speed is going to change a little bit. And I don't want my empty to run away and miss the action. Okay. Right, let me move my empty along. There we go. Okay, good. Maybe a touch further. Good. Now, at this point, I want to do something cool. I want to change the speed. So our speed is 2. Let's have a keyframe there. Let's go ahead. 5 frames? Yeah, and let's change the speed to 0.25. Okay. Because we've changed the speed, we need to delete our bake and bake again. Yeah, and this will now fall in super slow motion. Doof. Now, when it gets down here, I want it to resume at normal speed. Okay, so let's have this collision at normal, at slow speed. Okay, so we're going to finish at 0.25 speed. Let's go ahead a few frames. Back to 2. Let's have a keyframe here. Delete my bake, bake again. Now, we should see this is normal speed, or like twice normal speed, just because it's 2. This is super slow motion, looks really cool, and this is now normal speed. Oof. Cool, love it. Bang, fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Right, now that we've done that, all that's left is to program the rest of our keyframes, and then we're done. Okay, so I'm going to click my empty. Let's have a look at my empty keyframes. Okay. This is my empty. Right, so scene empty. Here we go. Yep. So the last keyframe I've got is, let's go to, yep, so the last keyframe I've got is back, here. Okay, so I've got a keyframe with the empty here. Right, so now this is going to fall down in super slow motion. Yeah, so we can see here we've got our scene keyframes here. And we want to follow this with the empty. So let's move that down to about there. And let's have a keyframe there. Okay, so as our speed changes, we want a keyframe. Now we've had an awkward collision here. So let's, shortly after it, let's have another keyframe. Yeah, there we go. This keeps happening. And then, doof. And then, so at this collision, approximately here, is going to be our final keyframe, and I know that that is 0, so I can have a keyframe there. Okay. Right, now let's finish our camera. So we can see our camera keyframes, and it's stopped here. Yep, so this is our last camera keyframe. All right, now we want this. Okay, so I'm happy to have the camera kind of following behind, to have the dominoes. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah. So I'm happy to have the dominoes running ahead and the camera kind of falling behind a little bit. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, now, here, I would like the camera to be approximately there. Okay, looking good. Okay, happy with that. Okay, now, as this falls down, I would like the camera to be a bit closer to it. So I'm going to move that along there. Let's have a look from above. In fact, let's just have it at the end point. So up, up, up. Camera keeps moving. Okay, we watch this happen in slow motion. Doof. And then we turn and we watch that. Okay, very good. I think we are done. Yeah? That looks nice. That looks really nice. I've got too many frames here. So the actual animation finishes around, around 650. Okay, so I'm going to call it 700. 700, then I can go ahead and render this. Go up to my output properties, change this to my MOV folder. Okay. Change this to FFmpeg, change my encoding to QuickTime. I can hit render. Let me check my HDRI. Okay, fine. Let me make my plane visible because it was invisible. And then I can go ahead, hit render, render animation, and that will take a few minutes. Right, guys, once you've done that, add it to your portfolio, to your to your iMovie, and then if it says checklist on this video, you need to upload that as a checklist. Very good, guys. I'll see you in the next video.